Thank you, Mr. Chair. I, along with many of my colleagues, are deeply concerned about the lack of consumer transparency and limited accountability of big tech companies. Consumers have become increasingly troubled about the way that their information is used by social media platforms and how these sites decide what news and information we see. Because of the secrecy with which platforms protect their algorithms and content moderation practices, which largely has been and continues to be a black box, consumers have little or no idea how the information they see has been shaped by the sites that they're visiting. I've introduced two bipartisan bills to address these issues: the Platform Accountability and Consumer Transparency, or the PACT Act, and the Filter Bubble Transparency Act. The PACT Act would increase transparency around the content moderation process and provide consumers more due process when a platform like Facebook removes a post. And the Filter Bubble Transparency Act would give consumers the option to engage with internet platforms without being manipulated by opaque algorithms. And I'd like to, Ms. Davis, just very briefly discuss those with you today. The Wall Street Journal recently revealed that Facebook overhauled its algorithm in 2018 in an effort to boost, quote, meaningful social interactions, or MSI, meant to strengthen bonds between friends and family. Instead, the overhauled algorithm rewarded outrage and sensationalism, making Facebook's platform an angrier place. Mr. Zuckerberg reportedly resisted proposed fixes because he was worried it would hurt Facebook's objective to make users engage more with Facebook. Ms. Davis, should consumers be able to use Facebook and Instagram without being manipulated by algorithms designed to keep them engaged on the platform?
Respectfully, Senator, that's not how we think about our newsfeed. In fact, our newsfeed is designed to connect people to people that they have a meaningful connection to. So friends, family, things that they're interested in. That particular change actually reduced the amount of time that was spent on our platform by about 50 million hours a day. The goal there was really to promote that more meaningful connection between friends and family. That said, I do think we have instituted additional controls for people's newsfeed, so people can actually have a newsfeed that's based on a chronological order as opposed to a ranking. And we have made numerous investments in transparency broadly. We have an annual transparency report. We actually submit to human rights impact assessment. We have an oversight board, all because we too, like you, believe more transparency is important.
The PACT Act, which I referenced earlier, is a Section 230 legislation I introduced with Senator Schatz, would, among other things, require that large online platforms remove court-determined illegal content and activity within 4 days or lose their Section 230 liability protection. Do you believe that Facebook and other large internet platforms should remove content that has been found by a court to be illegal?
Certainly, Senator. We have policies against illegal activity on our platform and illegal content.
There's a study published in the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences way back in 2014 that revealed that Facebook had conducted a massive experiment of 700,000 users on its platform that found, and I quote, emotional states can be transferred to others via emotional contagion, leading people to experience the same emotions without their awareness, end quote. Today, 7 years later, we're learning through media leaks that Facebook's internal studies continue to show the emotional contagion its services can produce among its users, most recently with teen users on Instagram. What do you think should be done to make users and the public more aware of the emotional contagion that occurs on Facebook and Instagram, and what can be done to counter-program against emotional contagion on Facebook and Instagram?
Thank you, Senator. I really appreciate that very thoughtful question. In fact, the research that we did wasn't exactly about emotional contagion. Nonetheless, the recent research really identified areas where we could actually improve our products. So, for example, we saw that young people indicated that when they saw uplifting content or inspiring content, that could move them away from some of the issues that they are struggling with. And so one of the things that we're looking at is something called nudges, where we would actually nudge somebody who we saw maybe potentially rabbit holing down content, toward more uplifting or inspiring content to break that what you're referring to as sort of contagion.
Mr. Chairman, my time's expired, but let me just close by saying that I think it's time for us to look at some of these reforms. I've got a couple of bills, as I mentioned, and I just think that users need to know, they need more transparency. These algorithms are opaque, and I think in many cases at least, users ought to have an option to be able to see content that hasn't been moderated by the platform. So I hope that we can make some headway on that, and I hope we do it soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Thune. I call on Senator Lujan.